And here are 2 tickets for the last movie I saw at my favorite movie theater, the Austintown Regal Cinema, less than a week before it shut down. And here's the movie ticket for the last movie I saw at the theater. Before it closed down, it was Lee Winnell's Invisible Man, which came out on February 27th, and this says it was March 5th, so saw it within the end of the first week it first came out. The closure of the movie theaters due to the COVID-19 pandemic in early March. As a movie lover, the subject matter was staring me right in the face, and I just didn't get it. With the last audio, I was trying to turn this into a found footage. Again, I'm also trying to show the creative process here, but this time I think I have the idea. I think I still want to stick to audio because that doesn't take up as much storage space as video. We could do an audio movie, see how long that takes, but I think I'm going to focus on memories of the movie theater and how this has affected me. Right now it is June 6th of 2020, so that means the movie theaters have been shut down for 3 months or more. And within the last month, I'll be honest, I've found myself having much less of an interest in movies than I used to have. I've always had a voracious appetite for film, especially since I saw my all-time favorite movie, Jurassic Park, at the drive-in for the first time when it came out in 1993, June of 93, so I was just under 10 years old. Let's not do that math. But it's always been my favorite film, and I always carry that wonderful memory of seeing it at the drive-in with my family, and just being wowed by it all. And I've always said that that has been what has pushed my love of movies. Just having my jaw on the floor for the entire 126 runtime of the movie as a young kid, always loving dinosaurs even before that. I'd read Michael Crichton's novel before that. But as I said, it was such a great experience, such an incredible movie, such a roller coaster ride, that I've been searching for that cinematic high since then. I had always liked movies beforehand, but that was the one that sold me. Like I said, going after that rush. I would remember watching movies with my grandparents growing up, old black and white, like Hitchcock movies on AMC. That also helped propel my love of cinema at a very young age. And then when I became older, going to the movies like right after work as a reward for working, especially if I came in on my day off or something, that was incredible. You know, no matter how bad the day was, knowing that there was a movie I could go to right when work's over. That helped me get through the day. And, you know, sitting down in the seat, I always took either the second or the third aisle right in the middle, and with my big tub of popcorn and my big drink and, you know, sometimes gummies, and just stuffing my face, you know, and just enjoying usually a good horror movie, you know, to help me relax, as we all like at the end of a long day. And just thinking, this is it. That really helped propel my love of movies even further. You know, it was a comforting hand. It was a relaxation factor in an uncertain world. I'm sure that's how many people feel with their hobbies or things that they love, or both. And movies just happen to be one of mine. it was getting involved in the stories, getting in someone else's shoes, some other characters, just forgetting the world around you, or even the fact that it reflected the world around you was very cathartic. Movies I saw as a good friend that you can always rely to be there in an uncertain world. And the theater was like going to visit their house. You know, it was always open whenever you wanted. Like I said, no matter how rough a day you had. And that was a wonderful thing. Maybe that's why when the theater shut down several months ago, like I said, I went through the last month or so, I felt like I was losing my interest in movies. I mean, I'd try some, they weren't really doing it for me. Maybe a big part of that was the theatrical experience. That comfort was gone. I'm not sure. And while we're on the subject of the comfort of horror films, and family and the feeling of connection you get going to the movie theater, I think I miss the little traditions. I got to get with my family, particularly my sister. We would see a lot of the Paranormal Activity and Saw sequels. I believe it was from Paranormal Activity and Saw 4 on, and they'd have them every year coming out around Halloween, and we'd go see them. You know, it was a nice Halloween tradition, good family bonding time. We always enjoyed ourselves. Good memories. And while we're talking about this, I would like to also state the way that audiences interacted with movies, particularly like when me and my sister went to see Paranormal Activity 3. It was the night it was coming out, a midnight showing. It was a completely packed theater, and everybody was yelling at the screen and trying to talk over it. The talking over part was a little annoying, I'll admit, but the part where they interact with the screen and, you know, stereotypically say stuff like, you know, watch out, or, you know, try to predict what's going to happen, that was a lot of fun. I remember seeing the Friday the 13th remake with my wife when we were dating. Again, another midnight showing when it first came out. Me being the huge horror fanatic that I am, and I have to get my fixes as soon as possible. And every time, you know, somebody would get killed by Jason, they'd all cheer. You know, that was a lot of fun. Where else would something like that happen? Or in our civilization where something like that, if you did that outside, it would probably be looked down upon. You know, it was a little more acceptable in this form, I think. Kind of goes into the idea that horror is kind of our modern gladiator sports, where we could cheer that on and get that out of our systems. But anyways, I digress. And continuing the topic of going to see the movies with your family, I remember seeing Ghostbusters 2 when I was 5, not quite 6, because it came out in July of '89, I believe. So I was just a couple months shy of being 6. With my dad. Another great memory I can remember as vividly as if it just happened yesterday. And Ghostbusters has always been one of my favorite series. Again, is the family connection, the connection to your memory, and having time with your family part of it. Probably why that's one of my favorite series to date. And another reason why I miss theaters so much right now, or missing out on that connection. I also remember going to see the Nightmare on Elm Street remake at midnight on the night it came out, the premiere, with my sister again, and my wife. And I remember my sister came and visited us about 8 o'clock at night. I remember we ordered Chinese food, and I remember us just conversing and trying to stay awake just to get to the theater before the movie started. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of that remake, but I still vividly remember that. And I remember going to see Skyfall, the James Bond movie, which started at 12:07. Little wink wink to the him being 007. And there was like half hour of previews there, and the movie itself was just about 2.5 hours, so it was well past 3 in the morning. And I went by myself and driving home, and it was an excellent movie. But that's another part of going to the midnight movies. As fun as it is, the staying awake part. But still really enjoyable, one of a kind. Reason why the theater's a one of a kind experience, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. And continuing with the idea of the relationship between family and the movie theater experience, as I got older, I took my children to the movie theater, and we all enjoyed it because it was on Fridays, which was usually my only day off, and we would go to the first showing, so it was usually just us there, whichever family-friendly movie was just coming out that day. We all enjoyed seeing it before pretty much everybody else. It was usually one of the live-action Disney movies or a cartoon of some similar sort. And they talk about that all the time. My kids have said that they miss the movie theater because of experiences like that. And they can't wait till that gets going again. And speaking of the live-action Disney, I remember recently seeing with my kids and my mom at the drive-in the Aladdin live-action movie remake at the same place where all those years ago I saw the original Jurassic Park. So in a lot of ways, there's the family experience connection, and it's a lot like a time machine that just brings joy and memories from the past to now. It shows that family's timeless and movies are timeless, and they create timeless experiences. I could go on with so many more movies I've had in the theater, which would fill up an entire feature, but for now, let's just go with this overview, because it certainly brings home the idea of, as I said, the timelessness of the relationship between family and audience and the theatrical experience. Edit. As I was going through my audio, I realized, I believe I said Ghostbusters 2 came out in July of '89. It came out in June of '89. And Invisible Man came out on February 28th. I believe I said the 27th. I was going off the top of my head, so apologies for that. Have we considered the soil, the life that lies beneath us, under our feet? Are we a shadow to them, or are they a shadow to us? The soil personifies growth, substance, teeming with life, a connection to our own. Have we considered how a single step from our own foot to the soil is a connection with nature, a oneness, a sense of unity so many of us seek throughout our lives, our existence, fooling ourselves into thinking that it is never found. A single step, also a symbol of growth, movement, life, being. Let us all move. a gale-force cacophony, with the sound beating in our chest, our ambitions, our goals. Let us feel pride in the single step, but let us not lose sight of the fact that a single step is but a beginning. I'm a lamp that's all lonely and stuff. The world is extra rough when you're a lamp and you're lonely and stuff and things and stuff. And then you're leaning. It makes it extra rough. I'm a lamp that's all lonely and stuff. And the world is extra rough when you're a lamp and you're lonely and stuff and things. And then some more things. And then I'm leaning. Makes it extra rough. I'm a lamp that's all lonely and stuff. The world is extra rough when you're a lamp and you're lonely and stuff and things and stuff. And then you're leaning. It makes it extra rough. I'm a lamp that's all lonely and stuff. And the world is extra rough when you're a lamp and you're lonely and stuff and things. And then some more things. And then I'm leaning. Makes it extra rough. I'm a lamp that's all lonely and stuff. The world is extra rough when you're a lamp and you're lonely and stuff and things and stuff. And then you're leaning. It makes it extra rough. I'm a lamp that's all lonely and stuff. And the world is extra rough when you're a lamp and you're lonely and stuff and things. And then some more things. And then I'm leaning. Makes it extra rough. Why are some artists celebrated and others ignored? Who assigns the worth of artistry? Who assigns worth to an artist? Is it time? Is it audience? Is it the artist himself? If so, let us all celebrate. Let us celebrate our accomplishments. Let us celebrate what we have breathed life into, the beautiful monster our hands, our hearts have created. Let us celebrate with all the passion and fervor that went into our invention. Let us celebrate our grand contribution to humanity, even if it is but a party of one. For our work, our art, would not have a beat, a heart, if it were not for our singular time and dedication. Let us have this party of one, for we have transformed the blank page into brilliance, searing, dancing and tiptoeing through the night, into the light of greatness. Let us have our party of one. We artists have deserved. Alright guys, I gotta document this the best I can. There's something out there. Last night I saw something streaking across the sky. Now they've set up fences. They won't allow us in here. I'm trying my best to film to find something. I don't see a body. All I saw was a light. I remember just very vivid nightmares. Wait. Is that an eye? Is that a bone? It's right in there. It's right. No. No, it's behind me. Ah! The video I took earlier is missing from my phone. I hope somebody gets this. I gotta keep documenting it. They were formed. They were all around me, and they just had the eyes, and it looked like just bones, eyes and bones. That's the only way I can describe it. then there was another flash, and I was in a cocoon with all kind of just green slime, and they were watching me. They were watching me from up and down, and just dangling by my feet. And then a dream, and then I opened my eyes, and then there was another dream, and I fell, and I didn't hit the floor. I ended up, I don't know how far away from my house, but I eventually found it. Or I thought I did. I was in that compound they set up with all the fences, and all that was there was my phone, but my video was gone. Oh no, they're watching. Here they go again. It's starting again. It's starting again. I moved and they couldn't find me. But they found me. They were here last night. They're following me again. They're... Nope. I'm not gonna be here for cool. No. Something must be done. Something must be done. I can't keep reliving this nightmare. Are they just trying to torture me? Are they studying me? Why are they always watching me? Why is the video not working on my phone so I can't show you? I need to show you. I need to show you their eyes and their bones. It's never gonna stop. It's never gonna stop. Oh God. Oh God. They're here again. I could see them. I could feel them, and I could... If we all knew where we'd end up on the road of life, ultimately, would we push toward it or away? Would we still put effort forth like the daily 9 to 5? Would we give up and just do what our hearts desire? Or would we see this as an opportunity to truly appreciate the journey instead of focusing on the money aspect of things, the work aspect of things? Would we see this as an opportunity to finally just be one with the world and one with ourselves, like we should be? Would we stop to see the everyday beauty around us, the beauty of motherhood and fatherhood and children and nature, and not just be focused on a check, on making ends meet? Would this enrich our trip? Would we be better people? We must ask questions before we get answers. What is music but a tick of the afflicted heart, convicted art, a dart thrown at a board where bored souls lie, paralyzed, decomposed in their essence. A phantom presence lingers, singing, fingers bringing hope. Forget pushing a broom and a shovel. I'd rather take it to another level. Hands in the air like you worship the devil, a true rebel. Y'all all a bunch of auto-tune clowns. Looking at me like, what should I do when I come around? Yo, this dude profound. He got style, wit, and substance. My answer I gotta articulate is keep it professional. Let it go, let it ventilate. I'm gonna bust this flow now, don't you know now? I'm gonna bust, I'm gonna bust, I'm gonna bust this flow now, don't you know now? Kapow. I'm gonna bust this flow. I'm gonna bust this flow. Don't you know now? Kapow. Ch, 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 I'm gonna bust. I'm gonna bust. I'm gonna bust this flow now. Don't you know now? Ch, ch, I'm gonna bust. I'm gonna bust. I'm gonna bust this flow now. Don't you know now? Kapow. You don't hear me, so I stay far, far away. Hey, hey, you don't feel me, so I won't reveal the real me. You want OJ? There is no music greater than silence. Be still as the dew. We are the rain. Your problems will fall wayward from you to the sky. Give them away. Pain is buckets falling into the ocean. We are a weather poem, internal storm. We refuse to conform. Hard as a basketball in the hoop from heaven's hands. Dormant we refuse to stand. In a world fascinated by politics, a form of faux intellectualism, break out of the prism. Bars, stars, the night sky all around us, abounding, pounding, resounding. We are all one. Star in the sky. No one is better than anyone else. No one is smarter. We are all one mind. Science, religion. We are a pigeon alight, seeking our own plight as one. Unified solstice. Pride from a world that just wants to diss everyone and everything. But these tears don't sting. They ring somber sonnets from the bonnets of our hearts, where true art is stored. Remnants of a war forsaken, shaken, stirred. For I'd rather hear the sound of a cat purr than a bullet hit flesh enmeshed. This is all improvised, so there's no disguising emotions. If we put the sound of a heart beating on wax for 31 minutes and spread it over 7+ tracks, can we call that an album? It certainly is music. We don't need a drum. We have the pounding of our souls in unison. Sons and daughters standing together. Birds with feather dance on treetops. It's hip-hop, it's bebop, it's non-stop. This is my album, and I don't care if no one listens. I'll have created it. I'll have that knowledge inflated that I did it, I made it. The dream will be known to me, even if it is solely to me, even if it is only threaded in my own essence. I made it. Yes, I made it. I did it myself. That in itself is wealth. And even if it is me repeating the same 3 tracks over and over again just to get the runtime down, that still counts, right? It's still a creation of my own. For it is through this repetition that we achieve the mission of self. We can say this repetition is life patterns are reaching out to Saturn, our own universe. Celebrate the weird, the odd, for we are gods and goddesses looking down on a commonplace landscape, draped in the mundane, people going through the same motions, oceans of oneness, sameness, a game we, the gods of our own world, laugh at. Ha 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 ha. Pointing at a cycle, the absurd rifle. You call life the 9-to-5 strife. Let's have a moment of silence while we are at this turn in the bend on the road of life, to think of all the times when we could have turned or jackknifed, and instead we looked ahead and kept going and going, but never gone, never lost. So many roads we could have crossed without an exit, yet here we are, still standing, still commanding, still true to self. That in itself is excellence, achieved. We personify daily, even though the sun doesn't always shine. Let's take a moment to think of how great this life is of mine. A check, a check, check, a check, check. I don't mean no disrespect, but there's gotta be more to life than a check. A check, check, a check, check, a check, a check, check, a check, check. Hey yo, I stand alone on this microphone and I can't condone that y'all a bunch of clones in check. A check, check, a check, 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 a check, check, a check, check. There's gotta be more to life than a check, a check, check, a check, check, a check, a check, check. I don't mean no disrespect, but music is memory, music is family, music is in the movies. I saw as a young kid, 10 years old, going to the drive-in, but it's also about surviving. There's music in childhood friendship, son. Here it is, the dream completed. Buckner album 1 has officially been done. Check, a check, check, a check, check, a check, a check, 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 a check, check, a 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 check, check. What remains unsaid? I would rather have a head hung low in artistic failure, but held high, breathing the air of freedom, than scouring through the mundane 9 to 5, a life of warehouse despair. For this is warehoused my true self. What remains unsaid is that art has been subjective since prehistoric cave paintings. They too sing of a communal story, a sense of self, unity, community. What else remains unsaid is that it is in man's spirit to create, not to hate. Let's carve positivity into our nation and be who we want to be. Help self, help others. Use the instrument of the heart to vent frustration. I'm gonna leave you with this. Be good to one another, love one another, respect one another. That isn't just a now message, that's a forever message. Don't be afraid to be experimental. How else will you set yourself apart from others? Don't be afraid to fail. There's not a single person on earth who hasn't wore those pair of shoes before. Remember that there's music and family and memories. That'll get you through. Know that at the end of the day, the only person you're in competition with is yourself. Be the best you, live the best life you can. This is my forever message. This is my forever message. Flame so hot of melting, ashamed I had to start pelting MCs with the same game. Every MC spits in the game. Just to talk about wings being lifted alight with the talents gifted. Our plight is one daily with the rising sun. Son, I want a rap feeling, but all I'm feeling is robotic. Sick from the commotion, the endless ocean, rising, falling, living to bring growth. Soil, soup in a pot. So I bring this back where I started. I'm hot. Yada yada, but you gotta start somewhere before you grow elsewhere. But where? Cause I'm still stuck in despair. Roots from a tree that refuses to move. I execute this a cappella over a smooth groove that's within. Inside, outside, all the eternal commotion. Infernal potions I swallow while feeling hollow. So I could wallow and continue to feel low. There I go, talking about how I'm feeling again though. Only a few seconds left and I'm barely gonna break the surface. Still feeling worthless, still searching for bliss, still trying to find myself and achieve wealth in our ever-failing capitalist society. Honestly, I still feel triumphant while wondering, amid the thunder, why the world lied to me. It's no to me. I'm coming off the dome with nothing really in mind to say. I was designed this way, but the great matter matters. So its commands I sway. Hands in the air, there's gotta be more than one way of giving and being forgiven. Steps in living, an escalator, a defibrillator. Ain't nothing greater than what we feel in our chest. But most of us walk around depressed, thinking life is a prison. There's beauty all around, there's beauty in silent sounds. Tides of nature, birds singing drowns. The mind escape, but the ear doesn't want to hear. So we just look at it as pestilence, another year. Another tired bit of commotion is what I hear, but I'd rather sit by the ocean. Intoxicated in my own thoughts. Intoxicated in a good book. Fictional worlds I sought to beat out the harsh realities of life. Do you want to be mellow or do you want to focus on the harsh realities of life? Pain and strife, it's all there on the page. But most look anywhere besides in a book, in a rage. Yet there is where you find those who will truly lead. Read, you'll find wisdom and intellect. You'll find there's more to life than a collect and a check. I know I already said that, but knowledge reigns supreme. Until then, literature is the realization of our wisest. My feet hurt, maybe I'm a little broken inside, but I'm above the dirt. All that's really injured is my pride. I keep trying to play new music, but all I come up with is the same notes. Still have to work 6 days a week, so on my mentals I can't afford to cope. My insides with relaxation, therapy, peace, it's rare to me. Cause honestly, this world is scaring me. Most of the time I don't even want to bust, I just want to adjust my time. But these mental charts I gotta climb. Unsure of myself every waking hour, which in itself is power. I'm tiptoeing, dancing through the fog of life. The rain of strife, clouding me, shrouding me. More tired imagery. I just want to imagine like John Lennon, never having to grab this pen again. Now that's winning. Or pretending to do so. Are you a friend or a foe? I fly over these cowards like a UFO. I'm hovering in your lower level, so you better chill. All quiet on the western front, I leave you still. Here it is, an album of 1 minute freestyles. You're coming at me with your teeth gritted. Meanwhile, I still got 3 more seconds, so there's still time to wreck it. I'll leave you disaffected. Memories, nostalgia, a child, dope, trying to be dope, but too shy to talk in school, so I was deemed a fool. Knowing one day I'd be cool, if even in my mind. Just had to seek to find the path to enlightenment, bent and broken. Words like glass unspoken. The past pokes in, like ribs, quick gashes. Flashes of insight, who I might have been if I would have been more open. But there's no better time now than ever to sever microphones, even if I do it alone, in an attempt to disown the person I once was, with a person, no, the man I now am. Time to silence being a lamb. Or maybe in so doing, I'll stop pursuing the right path. Stop doing the math of my own individuality. Find a mentality that is truly my own. Make my heart and my soul less stone. To reach heights I've never known through these poems. By just straight coming off the dome. Either way, I am me, I am home. Deliberations, contemplations are falling out the sky. I'm wondering why we still feel a man can't cry. And why do I follow into the same intellectual ideology? This thought I just have to float, but we have to cast it out like a vote. Over waters remote. Tell our daughters not to lose hope. We will learn to cope. And I also wonder why rain gets more plentiful when we get older. Hearts get colder. Winds, tornadoes, and storms. In the essence becomes the norm. But we can't conform. We've got to develop our own weather patterns. Whether or not we make it, we can't ignore. There's tension in the world, a war. We can't shake it. What are we fighting for? You and I. It's these tears in our eyes. Our right to bear emotions. Our right to be ourselves. Our right to ourselves. Our individuality. Instead of these social norms that weigh us down like gravity. Let's show them it's cool to be smart. It's cool to have an intellectual capacity. Worn on our sleeve. In a world that just wants to grieve and act like they're proud of not knowing much. We need to roll with a more sentimental touch. A detrimental clutch. Which allows us to be free. A key in the door that lets us breathe. Where every inhalation is a temporary vacation. This mic is my reprieve. No need to deceive. If one were to create an 80-minute experimental feature where 1 minute was just an intro and the other 79 minutes were a blank screen, how do you think audiences would react? Would they line up in droves to see the film? Would they run out of the theater as soon as it started? Would they be disappointed? Would they be enthralled? Would they enjoy the silence? Would they see this as an opportunity to project their own stories on the screen, to fill the blank screen with their own images, their own characters? their own hopes and dreams. What you are about to see is an experiment which poses this question in search of an answer. This is The Blank Screen, an experimental feature by Andrew Buckner.